Hello everybody, Eileen Godwin here with the bleeding art tissue technique. It's a super technique, it's easy to do, but it gives such stunning results. This is a sample that I made for one of my workshops. It's on a 10 by 8 inch canvas, and I've used Sweet Poppy stencils, Finnabar stencils, Splodge Away stencils, and a Stampender stamp. Really enjoyed making that, and the rest of the class really turned out some stunning samples. This I made this morning. This is the reverse white side of Centura Pearl card, cut with obviously a circle die, and I've used a Sweet Poppy stencil with that, but before I put the tissue on, I'd sprayed with Goosebumps to give us sort of a textured background on that, but I was very pleased with how that came out. And finally, just a quick sample here to show you that you can use this tissue on gloss card. This card is a chrome foundation card from Joanna Sheen, very glossy, mainly used for alcohol inks, but it works really well with the bleeding tissue. And because it isn't textured card, I found that I could stamp on it, and I'm using a Lavinia stamp on this one. Not finished, but I will finish it off later. So just to recap, the Centura Pearl card. I've also used white linen card, it works well on that also. The foundation chrome card that I've used there, and a canvas, a blank 5 by 7 canvas. That's where we're going to start the demonstration. I must say to you though that you must be careful, because this tissue stains anything. It will stain your clothing, it will stain your skin, it will stain your carpet if you drop it on the carpet. So be careful when you're using it, you might need to wear a pinny. How do I cut it? I used my die cutting machine and some shapes. I do like the shapes, and I've used hexagon for this. Hexagon shapes. I've used circles as well, any shapes that you want to. You can tear the tissue, no problem with that. It's just that I do like to have a sort of a controlled random on my canvases or cardstock. I know that's a contradiction, but I'm a bit of a neat freak, so I like to be able to place shapes in the design rather than just laying it down in strips or whatever else that you do when you're tearing it. So let's get on with it. There's the tissue, there's the nestabilities, and here are the shapes that I've cut already. It's quite simple to do. Don't lick your fingers though when you're picking these things up, because the next one you're going to find your tongue's going to be all whatever colour it is that you're using. Take a paintbrush, lay down one of the shapes and just gently paint with water. Not rocket science, is it? It's very good. You'll soon judge how much water to use. You don't want to drown the tissue, but at the same time you want to make sure you've got enough water to help with the bleed. Now you will see that this blue that I've used will start to bleed into the red and hopefully into the canvas underneath. And please don't use a heat gun to dry it off. You need to let your canvas or your cardstock or whatever it is you're going to use this on to dry naturally. Air dry it. Using a heat gun seems to have some sort of effect on the tissue colour, the stain, and it goes very muted and palish. So if you want it to retain the vivid colour, then air dry and be patient. It doesn't take too long. I'm just going to put these 4 shapes on and then go on to another canvas that I prepared this morning, so that you don't have to wait too long. So just lay it down in whatever configuration that you want to do, and then just wait. I'd give it a good 5 minutes if I was you. That seemed to be the best that the tissue needed to bleed, and it took a little while, but it was well worth the wait. and then you start to remove it, and use a pair of tweezers to remove it. And I'm starting from the bottom. I know that sounds silly because you put the blue one on first, but if you take the blue one off, you're going to take the whole strip will come away at once, and some of the colours, when they go into each other, they will turn into mud, and you really don't want that. So we have orange is coming off first, a little bit of a bleed there, that's good, and straight into the bin. And then this yellow one, there's a little bit more. Then the red, because that's been on longer, obviously this staining is better. And then the blue, and that was the last one. And now you can start turning the canvas and dripping it this way and that if you want to. But remember, no heat guns, just air dry it. That was canvas number 1. Now here's the one that I did earlier on, and that's the first layer. And now I'm going to put another layer down on top. I'm looking really for some contrasting colours. I really avoid blacks and browns, mainly because I like bright colours. And you've got to bear in mind that, especially with a canvas, that's a funny shape one, with a canvas, you're looking to stencil your image over the top. And and I usually use black ink for that. So if you're using very dark colours, it won't show up too well. So bear in mind your final plan, your final design when you're laying down the colours of your tissue. I do love this, but I've already got that one, so let's have another piece of red down here. So, as you can see, I'm keeping them apart now. So the next layer up will give me more definition of the hexagon shape. You might not want that. You can obviously do anything you like. Such lovely colours. Again, leave for 5 minutes. I'm taking this off earlier than that because I know that you want to see what is happening underneath, and we haven't got 5 minutes to wait. Ooh. There we go. Bleeds quite quickly though, doesn't it? Stains come through very well on that red. Right, and you can see, move it about, and then just again, I shall leave that to air dry. Not the most brilliant design, but you get the idea. So finally, here now is the canvas that I'm going to carry on and complete. I will say that I've used a little bit of chalk paint on this. If you make any mistakes anywhere, or you're not keen on the colours, then just get a chalk based paint. It can even be an inexpensive one from your local do-it-yourself shop. This happens to be Paper Artsy Fresco Finish. I love their paint. But the chalk based paints seem to work well, but you'll need to do more than one layer. There's 2 layers on here. It was really brown and I didn't like it. So I'm just painting it out, not using an awful lot of water. Keep it as dry brushed as you can. And I'll just take that down just a little bit and try and blend it in. And you can see it's blue now, but it wasn't. Trust me, earlier on it was really awful and I didn't like it at all. Now, this chalk paint, or a chalk paint of your choice, is very good if you're stamping and the stamp is wonky or it doesn't come out too well and it's over in obviously your white area. You can just paint it out, but you will need 3 layers of it. Don't put it on too thickly. Layer 1 and then heat gun it, the paint that is, and then put another layer on thinly again and heat gun that, and then for a 3rd and final time you should find it will be opaque enough that your mistake is really, you can't see it and you can stamp over the top again. And that also goes if you've stenciled. But of course, if you're stenciling and you're using a really strong amount of ink, you might need a few more layers to get rid of that. So next is a stencil. I'm not going to heat gun this, I should do, I just want to take out the wetness from that paint. This is a splodge away stencil. And I've changed my mind now. This is a Finnabar stencil. It's lovely. I do love circles. Not exactly matching the hexagons, but hey, it's my artwork. I'll do what I want. Right, here we go. I hope that you'll have a go at this. It's such good fun. I'm using distress ink here. I really want the stencil to be in the background, so I'm not interfering with the main image. It's sort of highlighting it rather than swamping it. So that's that one. And then I've got a splodge away stencil, and I believe this is called Cracked Glass, but I'm not sure. You'd need to go onto the Splodge Away site, or best Facebook page, and ask Tom or Susie what is the name of the stencil that looks like cracked glass. And they'll probably tell you something totally different than the name I've given you. Right. Now I'm using black soot here. I'm not too bothered, I only want an impression. I'm not too concerned, and I haven't taped it down as you've gathered. I am using, oh, thought I was using black soot, I'm not. I'm using archival black. Oh, it doesn't matter, no problem. It still gives a lovely impression. So that's layer number 2 with the stencils. Move all these out of the way, and then finally Sweet Poppy stencil. I need to position this close to the edge because there's a branch here, and I would like the branch to disappear over the side of the canvas to give the appearance of a tree positioned rather than just floating in mid-air. I'm going to tape this down now, as you can see. It's a lovely stencil. Need it to hold it a little bit there. Using a round blending tool, and I'm back to the black archival, and then just, this is a fairly new ink pad because I want the image to be crisp and really black, so I'm going to be layering. Sorry about the squeaky table. Really pushing it in. Taking my time here. Just a couple more bits to do when this stencil comes off. And then I think we're about there. Ooh, ooh, hold on. Yes. Are we ready? Here we go then. One. Now this is where the white paint comes in if you get black ink finger marks all over your work. And I've done that 2 or 3 times. Hopefully not on this occasion. No, look, oh, that's a lovely image. Okay. Should have moved it just over a smidge more, but I'm sure that you get the idea of what we're doing there. Now, I'm not waiting for this to dry, and I will say that the ink on canvas takes a lot longer to dry than it normally would. Ranger's Archival is usually pretty quick, but we found at one of the workshops that because you're putting so much on and it's a canvas and it wasn't sinking into the canvas as it should, it took quite a while. So put it to one side again, be a bit patient and just wait. I'm not patient, obviously, so finally, when it is dry, and I can do that down here, I then started to put in, I won't use the white I don't think, I started to put in a little bit of interest into the background by highlighting the shapes with different coloured pens. I'm using black here, but I've also used gold and sometimes white, and it just adds a little bit of interest to the whole thing. I'll just do one more down here. Just like to do something a little bit different. And then finally, if you could pass me, please, a mini mister that's on my desk. It's a spray, and it's in that green bag there. That's lovely. Thank you. There's another one. Right, a little mini mist. I'm just using the top. Again, this is just to add interest, to finish it off. And then you can go and have a cup of tea. So it's just that white acrylic paint, and it, I think, it turns your work into a mini work of art. Bit of a splodge there, but that adds to it. So, put it more to the middle. What do you think? I don't think that's too bad at all. Have fun. The bleeding tissue technique is such fun. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, catch me on Facebook or Eileen's Crafty Zone, my blog, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. Thanks for looking. Bye for now.